Hello everyone. This is another episode where we nurture wisdom and awaken the essence of our being, the pure, luminous, and empty nature of our mind. This mind, which forms the core of our life, relies on various tools: the sound we hear, the images we imagine, the sensations we perceive, and even our emotions, whether they be satisfaction, dissatisfaction, neutrality, or calmness. It uses all these elements as instruments, dwelling within the vessel of this body. As long as the mind, the essence of our life, continues to depend on these tools, it will remain unaware of its true nature. We have never truly known what we are. We take refuge in the vessel of the body, despite having inhabited countless such vessels before. Once, we were born as creatures of the water and mistakenly believed ourselves to be those bodies. When we were crabs, we thought we were crabs, searching for food, eating others, and being eaten in turn. When that body perished, the essence of life, our mind, detached from the vessel and moved to inhabit the body of a squid. As a squid, we grew, consumed others, only to be consumed ourselves, all the while mistakenly believing we were the squid. When we were eaten, we felt anger, hatred, and a desire for revenge. Again, the mind, the essence of life, left that vessel and found another, this time becoming a fish. Delighted to have a beautiful body, we sought sustenance, devoured others, and were in turn devoured, perpetuating the cycle. Even as we grew, we consumed countless lives, and in the end, we too were consumed, leaving that body once more. So what are we really? At that time, the mind, or the essence of life, left one body and entered the vessel of a millipede. As a millipede, we didn't know what we were. There were no words or language to define it. All we knew was that we needed to eat, feeding on plants, until we were stepped on. The pain and suffering caused the mind, the essence of life, to leave that body once again. Then, we sought a new body and became a dog. As a dog, we lived in a place with enough food. We were fed, ate other creatures, consumed what was provided, and lived a life of eating and sleeping over and over. We were content to have a body, but eventually we fell ill and died. Once more, the mind or essence of life left that body. Next, we were born again, this time as a bird. To grow and survive, we consumed many other creatures. Eventually, we were shot and killed, and anger and hatred arose toward the one who killed us. Yet when we were feeding on others, we felt nothing, just contentment. Little did we realize that when we consumed others, they too felt anger and hatred toward us. When someone harms us or consumes us, we harbor hatred toward them as well. This creates a cycle of attachment and retribution, binding us as enemies in an endless loop. Thus, the mind, or the essence of life, left the bird's body after it was shot and killed. Then, by chance, we obtained the vessel known as a human body. In the beginning, when we were newly born, we didn't know we were human. We knew nothing at all. There was only awareness. Awareness without stories. Opening our eyes, we saw everything, but it was a pure knowing, untainted by narrative. We were simply aware of being alive, without language, without names, and without concepts. The essence of life was empty, clear, and pure. Do you see that what our essence truly lacks is wisdom? The essence of life yearns only to understand what it truly is. When it first inhabited this new body, it did not know what this form was. It didn't even know it was human. There was no recognition of what it was, only an empty awareness, knowing life, without stories, without self, without others, without anything. It was simply life, knowing itself. As time passed, it began to hear sounds, taste food, and develop preferences, finding some tastes delicious, some enjoyable. It began to understand stories, to recognize images, and to remember. It remembered what it saw, what it smelled, what it heard, what it tasted. It began to weave these memories into understanding, into communication. It started to smile and slowly began to grasp the idea of, oh, this is me, I am this. Learning unfolded, understanding grew, and the sense of self began to form. Then we began to speak, to think, and to express ourselves because we were taught to think, to remember, and to speak. Slowly, we learned to speak and think, to fend for ourselves, and to go to school. Everyone taught us how to think, how to remember, and how to survive. Gradually, we came to understand that we are human. But what are we really? When we were aquatic creatures, we believed we were aquatic creatures. When we were land animals, we thought we were land animals. When we were birds, we thought we were birds. And now, in this body, this human vessel, we think we are human again. We hold on to this identity, striving to survive, to build families, to propagate our lineage. As the years go by, we start to feel weary. We realize that this world offers so little. Life becomes a cycle. We are born, we eat, we sleep, and then we wake to struggle from morning until night just to earn a single meal. Along the way, we experience anger, hatred, resentment, and conflict. Day after day, we return from work, exhausted, to eat that one meal, sleep, and rise again to compete, to fight, to quarrel, to hold grudges, all for a single meal. The days blur together, waking to seek sustenance, eating, sleeping, and repeating. We find ourselves trapped in a cage, endlessly circling the same routine, unaware of the essence of life that lies beyond this cycle.
Let us all follow along carefully and reflect deeply. Understand clearly that life is just this, nothing more. Ultimately, this body is not truly ours. We have changed bodies countless times, far beyond measure, since the earliest days when stars first formed in the emptiness. In that pure, empty void, there was nothing, no darkness, no light, no stars, no dust, only pure, pristine emptiness. Then came the first great explosion, giving rise to energy that spread out, forming tiny particles, which coalesced into stars, suns, galaxies, and universes, continuing to this very moment. Our journey began as the first stars emerged. We started as the smallest life forms, single-celled organisms, then 2 cells, 3 cells. We changed bodies, consumed others, and were consumed in turn, an endless cycle that continues even now. We have been born as every kind of creature, living in every possible form, adapting to countless bodies. Our essence of life, our mind, has always existed. It clings to sensations, to forms, and to bodies, seeking attachment, seeking birth, seeking experience. It clings in order to learn, to understand. Why does the mind, or the essence of life, continue to be reborn endlessly? When will it cease to be reborn? O mind, let me share the answer I discovered after reflecting deeply and turning inward toward the natural truth. Upon realizing and awakening to this truth, I came to understand that we are a pure, luminous essence. This essence is an immortal element, without form, a formless life force. It permeates everything, merging with all existence. This pure essence is free of any fabrication or stories. It is free of body, sound, images, emotions, and perceptions. It exists without any attributes, only clarity and purity. You might call it emptiness, but within this emptiness lies a primal essence, a fundamental element. We might even call it the original source, for it is the origin from which all elements arise. This original element preceded all existence. Everything in the universe was born from this primal essence of life. The entire cosmos emerges from the essence of our being. This essence does not go anywhere, nor does it come from anywhere. It is neither born, nor does it die. It is neither dark nor light, just a clear and boundless purity that encompasses all things. All existence resides within this infinite, luminous emptiness. Yet, we have never truly awakened, never come to know ourselves.
Instead, we create tools to learn about everything else, laying the groundwork to understand ourselves in some future time. Our formless essence of life, when met with stimuli, perceives them, just as you are now hearing my voice. Your essence is perceiving. Your mind is aware of this sound. The mind is a pure, luminous nature characterized by the function of perception. Observe closely. As you hear my voice now, that is the mind perceiving. It is an expression of the mind's natural function, recognizing this sound. It knows on its own. Notice carefully. When you hear a sound, the mind perceives it effortlessly. There's no need to try or to train. It simply happens. Just observe this. Do you see that it knows on its own? Now, where is the self in all this? Reflect deeply. If anyone truly understands this, they may feel an overwhelming release, tears streaming, a sense of lightness and freedom, as if unshackled from the identity of being human. This realization unveils the clarity and liberation that lies beyond self and form. Indeed, it is simple, the awakening of our mind, the essence of life. When it awakens, it sees that nothing is truly self. The tools that this essence uses every day are not us. They are not the mind. Yet we have become attached to them, believing they define who we are. This body is merely matter, a vessel formed to exist in this world, and ultimately, it will decay and dissolve. It belongs to no one. It is simply a temporary container for the essence of life, the mind, to inhabit, enabling it to communicate and learn. We were not born for any specific purpose other than to learn about this essence, this mind that resides within. From the moment we are born, we are taught to think, to remember, and to use thought as a tool. We learn to create symbolic language, to remember it, and to use it for communication. But all of this, language, thought, and the sounds we exchange daily, are tools designed for functioning in this world. They are not the essence of who we are. The true essence lies within, unchanging, waiting to be realized through awareness. The essence of life does not desire things in the way we might think. It's like catching fish in the ocean. We create nets, traps, or fishing rods to catch the fish. But we don't truly want the nets, the traps, or the rods. What we want is the fish. These tools are just means to an end. Similarly, our formless, pure essence of life seeks only to understand itself, to discover what it truly is. Right now, we don't know what we truly are. When this body dies, we don't know where we will go. We don't even know how we came to be born. Why were we born as this person and not someone else? Why do we have this particular form and not another? Why were we born into this body? And when this body dies, where will we go? What will we become next? Do we know? No, we don't. We are filled with unknowing. When we were first born, as little children opening our eyes for the first time, we didn't know how we came to be here. We didn't know what we were looking at either. There was only seeing. Look carefully. Scan your gaze from left to right, from right to left. It knows. It knows. Something, but we don't know what. There is only knowing, a knowing that life exists. This knowing has no stories, no narratives. It is simply aware. Do you see this pure awareness? It knows on its own. There is no self here. Try closing your eyes. When you close your eyes, the sense of the body disappears, and yet there is still something that knows. It knows by itself. It perceives on its own. Close your eyes and notice. When you do, there is only life, life without form. But it knows that it exists. There is perception, but no sound, no thoughts, no anything. There is only the sense of awareness, a knowing presence, and an empty clarity. This is the essence of life. It is like when we spend an entire day working, consumed by busyness, entangled in endless thoughts. We love to think, yet thoughts are merely tools. We think so much that it leads to stress, neurosis, and eventually the breakdown of the body. We fall ill with all sorts of ailments because of our thoughts. We rely on thinking, on the language we use to communicate, on this language to process our emotions and create narratives. We get caught in thoughts, immersed in emotions, and lost in sensations and perceptions. We let our thoughts dictate our actions, and we drag our bodies around to do this and that, consumed by activity all day long. Yet we never take a moment to truly understand the mind, the essence of life within. What is the essence of life like? No one ever teaches us. From the moment we are born, we are only taught how to live externally, how to use this body, how to think, how to remember, how to survive and make a living. But the true essence of life remains undiscovered, unexplored. That is why we must listen to this recording I've made. Listen to it all, over and over, until the essence of life, our mind, awakens. When the mind awakens and sees that nothing is truly us, the essence of life will break free from these tools. It will be as though we are torn away from the identity of being human. We will be freed from sound, seeing clearly that the sound is just something external, not us. We will realize that sound is merely what it is, outside of us. Mental images are not us. Emotions are not us. Even the awareness itself is not truly us. This clarity will be undeniable when the mind awakens. When we turn inward instead of flowing outward with sound, mental images, emotions, sensations, or the endless busyness of the body striving for survival, we will see clearly the truth of our essence. Simply observe within who is speaking, who is thinking, who is feeling emotion, who is aware. Just observe. If we notice that there is no self at all, that everything operates on its own, this is when the essence of life begins to gain insight, to awaken to wisdom. There will be a sudden realization, a moment of clarity, and a feeling of lightness and freedom. How could it not feel light? Our essence of life has no form. What weighs us down is our attachment to various sensations. When we are angry, isn't it heavy? Yes, it feels unbearably heavy. Observe carefully. When anger arises, it is accompanied by thoughts, emotions, and awareness of sensations. All of these are burdensome. Our formless, pure essence of life becomes weighed down when it clings to these burdens. It is like a pure, clear essence putting on a suit. Even though the suit is transparent and formless, it still adds weight. This suit consists of sounds, mental images, emotions, and awareness, shaping a form that is empty yet feels heavy. Then, on top of that, it puts on the physical body, another vessel, adding even more weight. This is how the essence of life, though originally light and pure, becomes encumbered by what it attaches to. It's like wearing a spacesuit. Without any suit, we feel light. But once we put on a spacesuit, it becomes heavy, filled with various components, yet it protects us. Inside, we remain the same. Similarly, the mind, the essence of life, dwells within. It first dons an invisible suit, the sounds, images, emotions, and sensations of awareness. Then, it puts on another suit, the human body. In truth, we have worn countless suits. Understand this. None of these suits truly belong to us. But because our essence of life has not awakened, it continues to seek knowledge. This essence relies on tools, sound, mental images, emotions, awareness, and the body itself, in the hope that someone will guide it inward toward understanding. Now, you are listening to the recordings I've made. From this point forward, these recordings are here for everyone to hear. Even children can listen. Take these recordings and share them in every school. Integrate them into the curriculum. When this happens, the world will change. Life will no longer be burdened by suffering. True peace will arise in the world. There will be no more harm, no more anger, hatred, or resentment among us. Children, the elderly, people with disabilities, women, men, people of every gender, age, caste, status, ideology, religion, ethnicity, nationality, and country, everyone living on this earth, let us share these recordings that I have made. Let everyone in the world hear them, and may each person help spread them far and wide. Let this knowledge reach everyone. This is the knowledge of the mind, the essence of life within. We have never truly learned about what lies inside. Instead, we have only been taught to look outward. Everyone in the world is taught to focus on external knowledge, to know everything about the outside world, but no one teaches or learns the inner science. Because of this, we have gone astray, lost in the pursuit of survival, harming one another, fighting, harboring anger and hatred, destroying each other over land and resources, waging wars, and causing devastation to claim territories. This inner knowledge, once understood, can transform us. It is time to teach and share it so that humanity can break free from ignorance and suffering. Do you realize that the land belongs to this earth? It doesn't belong to anyone. The land is simply here, yet we divide it and claim ownership, saying that whoever has the most pieces of paper owns the land. So we strive to collect this paper in order to exchange it for land. This paper, which we've created and designated as money, has turned us into its slaves. We invented paper to make survival easier, to facilitate the exchange of goods. But instead, it has led us to harm and kill one another. From morning until night, we struggle to gather paper, to claim ownership, to exchange it for food. Yet all the body needs is a single plate of food to survive. We work tirelessly, day in and day out, just to collect paper. For what purpose? To buy food. Just one meal, a single plate of food. This doesn't require vast amounts of paper. It doesn't require paper at all. And yet we harm, kill, destroy, insult, and harbor anger and hatred against each other daily in a race to accumulate paper. Whoever gathers the most is deemed successful, but at what cost? Let me share a humorous thought with you. Imagine that we are the wealthiest person in the world, ridiculously wealthy. Let's say we own all the gold, all the money, all the diamonds, and even the entire planet. Yet we still eat just one plate of food, just like anyone else. Even if we were the ruler of the entire world, we'd still eat one plate a day. No more, or we'd feel stuffed and uncomfortable. It's always just one plate. We are the mind, the essence of life, inhabiting this body to learn about our essence. We weren't born for anything else. It's like traveling to the moon. We don't desire the spaceship, the spacesuit, or the packaged food for its own sake. We simply use these tools to reach the moon. Once we've arrived and returned safely to Earth, the spaceship and spacesuit become irrelevant. We can discard them because here on Earth, food is abundant, and those tools are no longer necessary. Similarly, our body and the external tools we use in life are temporary means. Their purpose is to facilitate our journey of learning and discovery. Once we understand, we can let go of these tools, as they were never the ultimate goal. The mind, or the essence of life, has inhabited countless bodies, yet it has never come to understand itself. When we were aquatic creatures, there was no one to teach us about the mind as the essence of life. When we became land animals, subterranean creatures, or birds, not a single being ever showed us how to look inward, to see and understand our essence. Now, as humans, having taken on human form countless times, we still have not been taught to truly learn about the mind, the essence of life. No one has ever taught this. Imagine if, from the moment we were born, our parents, teachers, and mentors had told us, "The sound you hear, the voice you speak with, is just a tool. You are not the sound, nor the voice. You are the mind, the essence of life." What if they explained, "This essence of life is pure and luminous, the original element, the foundation of emptiness and purity. It is the essence of true life. This essence has no form, it neither comes nor goes, is neither born nor dies. It is immortal, formless, and merges seamlessly with the entire universe. You are this immortal essence." If we had been taught this from the start, how much more would we have understood the truth of who we are? But our essence of life simply doesn't realize that it is the essence of life, just as we don't. We don't know that we are this essence of life. Instead, we think this body is who we are. But we know, don't we, that this body doesn't last. On average, it survives about 75 years, but it could end tomorrow, or even this evening, because it is so uncertain. This body is fragile and vulnerable. A strong wind could blow through, causing a beam to fall and strike us. A fire could consume the house, or we could be hit by a car while walking. We might even stumble, hit our head, and that would be the end. Sometimes, we could be eating and suddenly feel a tightness, then collapse. Or the blood flow to our brain might stop, leaving us in a coma, unresponsive like a sleeping prince or princess. This body is temporary, fragile, and unpredictable, yet we cling to it, believing it to be who we are. Let's accept that this body won't last long. While it is still functioning, we must hurry to understand the mind, the essence of life, so we can realize, oh, this body isn't truly ours. We are merely borrowing it temporarily. Soon it will age, it will fall ill, it will ache here and there, it will experience pain, and it will suffer from various ailments. One moment, it might catch a fever. Another, it could face stomach issues or struggle to breathe. It might tighten, react to allergies, or develop countless diseases. This body is ready to break down in countless ways, and it doesn't last long. Therefore, from this moment onward, we must make it a priority to understand the mind, the essence of life. If we can grasp this understanding, we will no longer suffer. This world will become a harmonious and peaceful place, as the essence of life is not tied to this body. This body isn't truly ours. We are the essence of life. Look at this body. Observe your hands. Open them. Close them. Look at the palms and the backs of your hands. Look at your arms, your legs, your hands. Does the body say what it is? It doesn't speak, saying, I am the left hand, or I am the right hand. It doesn't say, I am an open hand, a closed hand. It doesn't call itself the thumb, the index finger, or the middle finger. It doesn't declare itself to be nails, skin, bones, or tendons. Do you see? The body itself doesn't speak. But there is a voice, our inner voice, that is constantly speaking. Can you hear it? This voice says, this is the left arm, this is the right arm, the left leg, the right leg, the left hand, the right hand. The voice speaks, but the body doesn't. Even that tree over there, it doesn't call itself a tree. Look carefully. It doesn't say a word. But the voice in our mind says, this is a tamarind tree. The tree itself doesn't speak. Now look at the window. The voice says, this is a window, this is a door, but the objects themselves don't say anything. Observe everything around you, from left to right. Look at it all. None of it speaks of what it is. Only the voice in our mind creates these labels and narratives. It is only this voice that declares things to be this or that: a person, an animal, a house, a car, a road, the earth, the sky, a tree, or the wind. This voice speaks. This voice assigns meaning and value, saying, this is good, that is bad, this is merit, that is sin, this is an evil person, that is a good person. Do you see how this voice labels and defines everything? Even this body, which inherently has no name, is given a name. We name it saying, this is my first name, this is my last name, even though the body itself has no need for a name. It is the voice that assigns meaning and value to everything. Now observe carefully. The voice that speaks inside your mind. It's constantly thinking, endlessly narrating. Look closely. Can you touch this voice? Can you grasp it? No, it's intangible. It's simply something that speaks from within. Just observe. Notice how this inner voice speaks on its own. One moment it says, Mum, I want to eat fried eggs. Another moment it says, I want fried rice. Do you see how this voice arises within? If we simply observe, if we awaken to this awareness, we will notice that the voice speaks on its own. And this voice has no self. It is intangible, without form, and entirely fleeting. It is merely a ripple, an expression, existing as a tool to be used in this world. But our essence of life does not need it. These things, voices, images, emotions, are tools for the mind, the essence of life, to use for communication. Imagine a cat or a brown dog with long ears and a long tail. Do you see the image in your mind? This image that you are picturing, can you touch it? It has no form. It is intangible. The image arises on its own, and then it fades away. The same is true of the voice. It arises as words. When there is silence, it disappears. When it speaks, it reappears. Do you see? Where does this voice come from? Where does it go? It arises from the essence of life. The voice is simply a ripple, an external phenomenon of the pure essence of life. Mental images are ripples too, appearing momentarily as forms, and then fading away. Observe emotions closely. Just observe. Emotions operate on their own. They become angry on their own, joyful on their own, irritated on their own, or remain neutral on their own. They are simply expressions, rippling through the essence of life. When we think or imagine, if things align with our thoughts and expectations, we feel satisfied. But when they don't, dissatisfaction arises. Observe this carefully. Just focus on this key point. Emotions are not who we are. If we see this clearly, we will realize the truth that emotions arise on their own and fade on their own. They are merely ripples of the mind, the essence of life. These ripples, manifesting as various emotions, rise and then subside. Notice this. Where did the happiness you felt yesterday go? Where is the anger you experienced yesterday? Where is the irritation you felt an hour ago? What about the boredom from 1 minute ago? Where has it all gone? Do you see? These states are simply phenomena that arise and pass away on their own. They are natural occurrences, not something we own or control. Observe carefully, and you will see that these emotions are not ours. They are just part of the natural process, arising, existing for a time, and then fading away. Sounds arise and disappear on their own. Images arise and disappear on their own. Emotions arise and disappear on their own. Right now, you hear a sound, don't you? Observe it. It is perceived on its own without any effort. See? It is heard on its own. Scents are perceived on their own. Just observe. See? It smells on its own. Sight arises on its own. Simply observe. When food touches your tongue, the taste is immediately perceived. Just observe. At this moment, the sensation of heat or coolness is felt on its own. If we simply observe within, who is doing the observing? It is the mind, the essence of life. When it awakens, it sees these phenomena. This is the practice of observing. The essence of life is aware. This awareness arises naturally, observing sounds as they are heard now, and emotions as they appear now. Just observe and notice that these sounds are not you. For example, when craving fried rice, notice the inner voice saying so. When you see this, you will understand that this voice thinks on its own, imagines on its own, and feels emotions on its own. It is a natural phenomenon arising by itself. The awareness that perceives all this knows it naturally and effortlessly. Observe closely. For those who can see in this way and come to understand, there arises a sense of lightness and spaciousness, as if being pulled away from the notion of self. Everything transforms into mere illusions. It's as though we once believed we were human, that the sounds, images, emotions, and awareness were all us. But when we observe and see that these things are not truly us, it feels as if we are being pulled out of our own sense of identity, detached from being a person. This can happen at any moment,
like being pulled away, and in that instant, we realize that we are something clear, pure, without form, without identity. It is an emptiness, a clear purity, seamlessly merging with the universe itself. In this state, there is only purity, no suffering, only fullness, joy, and radiant clarity. It is utterly pure, free from any form of suffering. If one understands this deeply, this is what it will feel like.
Before reaching this understanding, you must listen to my teachings repeatedly until you truly grasp them. When this knowledge penetrates your heart, it will fill your inner being completely. Eventually, your essence of life, the pure element within, will awaken to the realization that you are this pure essence. Then you'll begin to question, why are we attached to this body? Why are we clinging to mental images, emotions, and awareness? Gradually, you'll come to see that these things are merely natural phenomena, not truly us. We are merely caught in delusion, grasping at them. It's like believing someone is our partner. In truth, they are not anyone's partner. They are another essence of life inhabiting a vessel. Similarly, we, too, are an essence of life dwelling temporarily in a vessel. When we say, "This is my dog," pause for a moment and see. This body also hosts an essence of life. In past lives, we ourselves may have been dogs, deluded into thinking, "I am a dog." But when the dog's body perishes, the life essence floats free, seeking a new vessel, eventually being born as a human. Yet even this human form is temporary. If our essence of life or consciousness lacks wisdom, lacks the awareness of its true nature as pure essence, it will continue to cling to forms, sensations, and experiences. It will persist in inhabiting bodies, bound by the cycle of attachment and delusion. The essence of life, the pure consciousness, continues seeking new bodies over and over again, caught in the endless cycle of samsara, birth, sustenance, suffering, and death. It repeats, being born, consuming one another, experiencing suffering, and then dying. Ultimately, this cycle is fueled by clinging to the past. Understand this. Listen repeatedly until it becomes clear, until the essence of life within accumulates wisdom. If you listen, understand, and observe continuously, this wisdom will grow. When it reaches 25%, you will recognize that everything arises because of thought. With deeper understanding, reaching 50%, you will realize that emotions are not truly yours. Then, as understanding progresses to 75%, you will see thoughts continuously, even during sleep. This awareness becomes automatic, constant, and effortless. It sees itself at all times. Finally, as this understanding deepens, layer by layer, until it reaches 100%, there will be a moment of release, a complete breaking away. This is liberation, the point where the cycle ends, and you are no longer bound. If you continue to understand deeply, you will realize that what is being known, what is being heard, these are not you. Even the words being spoken are not you. It all collapses, shatters completely. It is as if the knowledge we once held, the belief that we are human, crumbles. It feels like the entire world explodes into fragments, the body disintegrates, and everything, this universe, shatters into fine particles. What remains is pure emptiness, a clarity that is profoundly pure and intensely radiant. You become aware that you are this luminous, pure essence filled with wisdom. There arises a profound realization. You are a pure element, an immortal essence, never bound by form. Yet somehow you became lost, like falling asleep and dreaming, forgetting your true nature. You mistakenly believed the dream of being human was real. Isn't this similar to when we dream? In dreams, everything feels vividly real. We live out entire stories in the dream, experiencing events that feel completely authentic. But when we awaken with a start, we realize it was just a dream. Similarly, when you awaken, you will understand that this too is a dream. Understand this. If parents, teachers, or anyone had taught us this from childhood, we would not be as we are now. We would live in this world with ease, without suffering, because nothing truly belongs to us. Everything is temporary, like a brief visit to this world. We are merely travelers here for a short while, and this would be our last visit. This would be our final time as humans. From now until this body dissolves, we should share this knowledge, spread it, teach it, and share it with the world. Imagine if this understanding were included in the education system from a young age. If everyone could hear it, they would no longer suffer. Don't you think that would be a good thing? If everyone on this planet could know the essence of life, the pure consciousness, and break free from attachment, the world would change. When we let go, we see clearly that nothing is truly us. These words being spoken, the thoughts, emotions, and awareness, they are all something, but not us. What we experience as sounds, images, emotions, or awareness is just movement, waves of phenomena, not our true self. By understanding this, we awaken, and suffering no longer binds us. Let's share this truth with others, and make this knowledge a part of the world. This body is not truly us, but we reside in it temporarily. We live our lives here together on this earth, sharing, helping, and supporting one another. Why should we compete or fight over anything? We're simply here together, finding what we need to sustain ourselves. The body only needs one plate of food. One meal a day is enough to live comfortably. With this understanding, life becomes lighter and freer. Listen to my teachings every day. The more you listen, the more you will understand. Share it with everyone. Teach, guide, and encourage one another. Sometimes when someone hears this knowledge, even after just a day or two, they begin to see the ignorance they've been trapped in, clinging to the tools of delusion. This is the truth. It is a singular teaching, the one wisdom that all of us need to learn. If we liken life to a game, this is the one game we must all strive to win. Whoever wins this game will receive the greatest reward, something far beyond anything found in this world. Piles of gold and silver stacked to fill the earth could not compare to the value of knowing the essence of life, the pure consciousness. When this is realized, suffering ends completely and permanently. You will live in this world with lightness, ease, and freedom. With or without possessions, it makes no difference. One simple meal is enough. There's no need for worry or overthinking. Once a task is done, it's done. There's no clinging to thoughts or emotions. For those who have yet to understand the essence of life, stress often dominates their nature. Whether working, earning a living, trading, or being an employee, they feel weighed down. They stress about their tasks, worry about their boss's criticism, and carry this burden in their minds. But think about it. When the workday ends and you're heading home, perhaps driving or riding, your mind replays, "What a terrible day. The boss scolded me, criticized me." Wait a moment. The workday has ended. The boss's words, the criticism, it all happened 3 hours ago. That moment is over now. Why let it linger? Why carry it with you? When you truly understand the nature of life, you will see these thoughts for what they are, passing phenomena, not worth holding on to. Let go, and you'll find freedom. It's simple. The past is already gone. It's extinguished, finished. Everything arises and then ceases. Everything appears for a moment and then vanishes. Like the sound you're hearing now, it arises, then fades away. A mental image arises, then it disappears. Emotions arise and then pass. Even the awareness that knows all this, once it knows, it's gone too. What remains is the flow of awareness, moment to moment, knowing what arises and letting it go. As things make contact, you simply know. While sitting in the car, you feel the wind brushing against you. You know it. Sitting in the car, a thought comes. When I get home, I'll fry some eggs. You recognize it. Ah, it's thinking this. Stepping out of the car, walking, you notice a slight ache in your legs. You simply know it as it is. Opening the door and entering the house, the cool air greets you. It feels refreshing, and you know it. Arriving in the kitchen, preparing food, the aroma of the ingredients arises. You notice, it smells good. And so it continues, moment by moment, without clinging or resistance. This is the flow of awareness, simple, clear, natural. Once you finish cooking and place the meal on the table as you eat, each bite is simply experienced as it is. You know it, just like that. There's only awareness in the present moment. What is known is immediately gone, passing by without leaving a trace. It's awareness without attachment, knowing and letting go, living with ease. Life becomes effortless, without the weight of stories or burdens. If we truly understand the essence of life, the pure consciousness, this is how life unfolds. It's free from tension, and even the body becomes healthier. Why? Because there's no stress, only lightness and comfort. The mind is calm, and the body follows, becoming refreshed, vibrant, and joyful. With this understanding, there's no need for conflict or arguments. Life becomes harmonious, naturally free from friction with others. It's a state of profound ease, simplicity, and clarity, a life lived in peace. This describes those who understand the mind as the essence of life. For those who have not yet recognized the mind and the essence of life, do you know how it is? Imagine having an argument with your boss 3 hours ago. The workday is over, and now, 3 hours later, you're on your way home, feeling bored, annoyed, and stressed. You're still dwelling on the scolding from your boss, mumbling complaints, and revisiting the events that have already passed. The emotions from that moment are gone, the situation is over, yet here you are, replaying it, feeling miserable. Notice the voice in your mind right now, the one that speaks, complains, and thinks about the past. If you can see that this voice talking in your head, the one thinking and reflecting, is not truly you, but something that arises and speaks on its own, then you start to see the nature of the mind. If we can see and understand in this way, it will sever completely. The mind will break free from this condition, as if it's being pulled apart and separated. In that moment, an understanding arises, often accompanied by tears, a lightness, a sense of relief, and the realization, have I been deceived by this voice all along? The mind will slowly begin to recognize itself as a pure essence, understanding that we are the essence of the mind, the essence of life. We had been living through and identifying with this voice, mistaking ourselves for it. Just as we inhabit the body and believe we are the body, forgetting that the body is merely a temporary vessel, something borrowed from this world. In truth, we are not human beings in the way we think we are. We have never truly been born into this world. Our essence of life is an empty, pure element without form. It is profoundly pure and untouched by the material realm. For the essence of life to understand itself, it must create tools, voices, mental images, emotions, and awareness. These tools are formed and then housed temporarily in this body for use. That's why I tell you that we are the essence of life. There is nothing that is truly us or belongs to us, not even the voice I'm speaking now. It isn't truly our voice. It's not even a voice at all, but rather a ripple of sensation within. Observe inwardly, and you will see. Try closing your eyes. Close them gently and sit comfortably. You will sense that the body disappears. There is no body, yet there is a knowing that life exists. There are no stories, no forms, only life itself, formless and spacious, right here. Yet it is aware. Right now, it perceives sound. Observe carefully, and you will notice. It senses sound, it senses smell, and so on. It simply knows. Observe closely. It perceives within as a movement, a ripple, a vibration. And this movement is not us. It operates on its own. If we can understand this, If we see that what is being known is known by itself, that what is being thought or spoken is happening on its own, then we will recognize that there is no self in it. Even emotions are not ours. They arise and subside by themselves. The moment we understand this, a profound realization arises and the mind breaks free. It feels as though we are pulled out of our human identity, liberated from it. What remains is clarity and purity, an extraordinary sense of brightness and freedom. When we awaken to this pure, clear essence, we experience a lightness, an ease, and a profound sense of peace. There is no suffering in this state, and we begin to understand, what are we all chasing after? Why do we harbor anger, hatred, revenge, conflict, or competition? What is the purpose of all these struggles? In this clarity, the futility of these pursuits becomes evident, and only peace remains. There is nothing that truly belongs to us. We fight and kill over land, but the land belongs to the world. Don't destroy one another. Don't insult one another. Don't argue or create conflict. There is nothing that is ours. We are merely temporary guests here. We only need enough to sustain the body. Eating just once a day is sufficient. This body can survive without excessive striving. Live simply, peacefully, and harmoniously. Help one another. This is how life becomes when we realize that nothing truly belongs to us. With this understanding, we feel a profound shift in how we view life. From now on, we will cherish those we love, bring them happiness, and guide them to understand the mind as the essence of life. We will strive to help everyone on this earth come to this understanding, freeing them from suffering. We will tell everyone, stop being entangled with external matters. Turn inward instead. There is nothing more profound or precious than coming to know what is within, understanding the mind, the essence of life within us. Once we know this, we will no longer engage in conflict with anyone outside. Peace will arise naturally from this realization.
We are caught in turmoil because we direct our attention outward. We think about this person, that person, chasing after external objects, striving endlessly for things outside of ourselves. That's why life feels so chaotic. But what if we turn inward? Observe the voice that speaks within. Notice the mental images, the emotions, the sensations of knowing within. Recognize that all these experiences are not us. There is no self in them. We are the essence of emptiness, clear, pure, and formless. There is nothing here. It is as if emptiness encompasses the entire universe. And this realization is truly extraordinary. The key is not to cling to the idea that we are a god or something special. In this pure, clear essence, there is no self. The voice speaking is not us. The awareness of these phenomena is not us. There is no I, no anything at all, only purity, tranquility, lightness, and ease. Walking becomes light and free. Eating becomes simple and effortless. Life itself feels unburdened, peaceful, and serene. When we live with this understanding, we move through life with a profound sense of clarity and calm, untouched by the chaos outside. From the moment we wake up until we fall asleep, life can be light and easy. Whatever happens, work, arguments, good moods, bad moods, comes and goes without being held onto. It's as if nothing sticks. Everything flows through without weight. Take, for example, a recent argument with your boss 3 hours ago. Even now, you're still tangled in it. I'm so bored, so annoyed, so frustrated. Maybe I'll go out tonight, eat something nice, and distract myself. Why did my boss argue with me? They just don't understand me. I've worked so hard, yet they criticize me. I don't even feel like working anymore. Maybe I should quit. But if I quit, I won't have a paycheck. Ugh, this is so frustrating. What should I do? Maybe I'll call and talk to my boss. Should I confront them? Should I wait? What should I do? The mind keeps chattering, thinking, overthinking, and replaying scenarios. It clings to the argument, creating layer upon layer of unnecessary thoughts and emotions. But if we observe this internal monologue, we can see it clearly. This voice isn't truly us. It arises and fades on its own. When we stop attaching to it, life becomes lighter, freer. The turmoil dissolves, and we find ourselves at ease, moving through life with simplicity and peace.
Can you see it? If we notice that the voice speaking inside is just speaking, thinking, and chattering on its own, and we realize that these thoughts are not truly us, just processes arising on their own, everything changes. If we can truly see this, that these thoughts are merely reactions and not who we are, then the whole structure of thoughts collapses. It shatters, leaving an incredible sense of spaciousness and clarity. In that moment, the mind may even chastise itself, saying, "How could I have been so foolish? There's no me here at all. Why was I caught up in thinking like that?" This realization transforms everything. Once understood, it no longer clings to thoughts. It sees them as they arise, and they dissolve immediately. The mind becomes quiet, completely still, without attachment or noise. This clarity brings a profound sense of peace and freedom, as the burden of thoughts and attachments falls away entirely. Life becomes simple, light, and free from unnecessary turmoil. This is how it goes. The mind jumps to a new thought. "I want fried rice." It starts thinking. When we notice it thinking about fried rice, we get up to cook it. While cooking, another thought arises. "Tonight, I'll watch my show on social media, revisit my discussion about the mind." As we stir the fried rice, the mind creates images and thoughts about the show. Can we see this inner dialogue? If we notice the thoughts, it's thinking like this, then we continue cooking. The smell wafts up, and we recognize, "Oh, this smells delicious." Another thought arises. "I'll add 2 fried eggs, chili fish sauce, and cucumbers." We see these thoughts too, and let them pass. When the meal is ready, the aroma is enticing. The fried eggs are perfectly placed on top of the rice. The moment it's served hot, the mind reacts with salivation. We scoop some rice and egg, bring it to our mouth, and as it touches the tongue, the taste buds activate. "Wow, it's so delicious," the mind says. Can you see the voice that says this? The thoughts and reactions happen naturally, thinking, imagining, and experiencing, but they're not us. They arise, we notice, and they pass. Life unfolds moment by moment, and we simply observe it with clarity and ease. Can you see how it knows on its own? It knows that it is experiencing something, and then a voice arises saying, "This is so delicious." You can observe a voice speaking like this. All of it. None of it is us. These are merely manifestations of the mind, expressions of the essence of life, rippling as sounds, images, emotions, and sensations of knowing. It all functions entirely on its own. If we can see this clearly, it brings lightness, openness, and liberation. Then we might laugh or even scold ourselves, realizing that our suffering comes from clinging to these voices, these images, these emotions, these sensations of knowing, this body. We cling to the belief that I am sitting here eating fried rice, but in truth, as we scoop the rice, chew, and think about this or that, there is no me here at all. In reality, what exists is not us in the way we believe. There are only processes, feelings, sensations of knowing, awareness of something, but no inherent self. When we see this, the notion of I dissolves, leaving only the pure experience of life as it is, free from the weight of self-identification. If we truly understand to the deepest level, we will experience a knowing that is unconnected, unbound. It knows everything, but there is no self that knows, because in this purity, this clarity of the essence of life, there is nothing. When we delve deeply into this truth, we realize that there is no self existing in this world. There are only sensations of knowing, knowing without a self, and this knowing arises and passes without attachment. In essence, there is nothing at all. No feeling of I, no voices, no mental images, no emotions, no sensations of knowing, nothing. There is only pure, untouched clarity, light, spacious, and serene. It is a state where all burdens dissolve, leaving only an open, weightless peace. This purity is beyond concepts or form, a true liberation from everything we once believed to be us or ours. From the moment we wake up until we sleep, we can live with lightness, openness, and ease, feeling a continuous sense of comfort. We will naturally want to share this with everyone, telling them, "Don't suffer over things like that." We will encourage others not to argue, harm, or insult each other, not to cry or feel distressed. Instead, we'll remind everyone that there is no true self, that nothing truly exists as we believe. By listening to my teachings, starting from the first tape and continuing through all of them, we can understand that this knowledge is universal. Everyone on this earth can benefit from it. This wisdom is free. It is not something that costs money, but something that anyone can understand and embody by recognizing the pure essence of their own mind. Our goal is to fully realize and experience this truth. This is the game we need to win. Understand it, know it, and embody it. Let us all share in this knowledge so that we can be free from all suffering. As the time is right, I will conclude here. May we all swiftly come to the realization of this truth, the pure essence of the mind, and awaken to it without delay. May all beings be free.